For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things about it. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. To do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
For me, there's a simple rule in politics. Never, ever be surprised by what happens in politics.
The face of truth is open. The eyes of truth are bright. The lips of truth are ever closed. The head of truth is upright. The breast of truth stands forward. The gaze of truth is straight. Truth has neither fear nor doubt. Truth has patience to wait. The words of truth are touching. The voice of truth is deep. The law of truth is simple. All you sow, you reap. The soul of truth is flaming. The heart of truth is warm. The mind of truth is clear and firm through rain and storm. Facts are only its shadow. Truth stands above all sin. Great be the battle of life. Truth in the end shall win. The image of truth is the cross. Wisdom's message is its rod. The sign of truth is Christ, and the soul of truth is God. Life of truth is eternal. Immortal is its past. Power of truth shall endure. Truth shall hold to the last.
I don't have to tell you things are bad. Everybody knows things are bad. It's a depression. Everybody's out of work or scared of losing their job. The dollar buys a nickel's worth. Banks are going bust. Shopkeepers keep a gun under the counter. Punks are running wild in the street, and there's nobody anywhere who seems to know what to do, and there's no end to it. We know the air is unfit to breathe, and our food is unfit to eat. We sit watching our TVs while some local newscaster tells us that today we had 15 homicides and 63 violent crimes, as if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy. It's like everything everywhere is going crazy, so we don't go out anymore. We sit in the house, and slowly the world we're living in is getting smaller, and all we say is, please, at least leave us alone in our living room. Let me have my toaster and my TV and my steel-belted radios, and I won't say anything. Just leave us alone. Well, I'm not going to leave you alone. I want you to get mad. I don't want you to protest. I don't want you to riot. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crying in the street. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad. You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
Sin piradero aquí. Gasa te wheels passing, gasa.
Lifeless bodies of three individuals, small, sprawled somewhere on the streets over in Dennery. As we say hello, welcome to another edition of NewsSpin right here on Power 97.9 FM. We are also on YouTube and our NewsSpin Facebook page. My name is Timothy Poleon. The broadcast goes on until 2 o'clock this afternoon. Later, your calls at 452-2979, 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. So I can't wait to hear from you. And so our intro, you've got to get mad. My life has value. You think your life has any value in St. Lucia? Ask yourself that question. And if you care to, answer that question. So let me say good afternoon to Kimani very early in the broadcast and put you on the spot because you're living in a certain section of the island, right? Mm-hmm. Somewhere on the East Coast. And when you see the video of those young women in particular sprawled on the streets there in that community, how do you feel as a young woman? Not that the victims of crime are primarily women, but there is an era when we used to glibly say most of the perpetrators are young males, and most of the victims are young males as well. Increasingly, you have a number of females being subjected to that kind of violence and succumbing to the injuries.
Well, I feel scared, first of all, and it's sad to see that, I mean, now it's not just men or boys, it's women and the girls. I mean, they were 17 and 18. What could they have possibly been involved in, or that could have made for them to be dead right now?
Mm-hmm. And even if they had committed some offense, they had offended somebody in one way or the other. I mean, we have heard time and time again, do not take matters into your own hands. Report to the police, report to law enforcement. And even in the days of yore, you'd report to an influential person in the community what transpired, or if you suspect that somebody is involved in something that is impacting you, you go to their mom or their father. Clearly, things have definitely changed. I don't know what would cause us to get mad in St. Lucia, not to the extent that we ourselves get involved in illegal acts and acts of violence and take matters into our own hands, but when we will say enough is enough, because my life, to quote, my life has value. It appears now our lives in St. Lucia are worthless. And this is not an exaggeration. It is the reality. 5 homicides occurring on the island between Friday evening and Sunday. That certainly, it's not unprecedented. I mean, we had the Vieux Fort situation. We have had other homicides occurring during the independence anniversary. But it just cannot be allowed to continue.
But worthless, Tim? I wouldn't.
No, in terms of how it's being treated, how a life is being treated in our country. If you speak to the average person right now, today, I mean, they're probably oblivious to what transpired between Friday and last evening.
Of course.
Because what we have done is become so inured to what is happening. We have gone so used to it. It is life in St. Lucia is the reality, and you hear people saying, leave it to God, put it in the hands of God. God will deal with it. You hear religious leaders, a whole host of people who are making reference to that.
If we don't have...
So we have basically given up.
Well, if the relevant authorities don't seem to be, pushing forward or stringent in, fixing or putting measures in place to fix the situation. What are we, the populace, supposed to do?
What do you think we should do?
I do not know, Tim. I honestly don't know.
You believe that we should just pray about it?
I mean, we should pray about it, but I think we should take action as well. But what action, I'm not sure.
Okay. This is my 2 cents on this whole issue. And it's not as if you haven't heard it before. In every situation, there is something called leadership. And we are at a particular epoch that doesn't warrant people just talking, coming up with all kind of fancy slogans and strategies, and setting up a council here, and setting up a commission here, because those clearly have not worked. We need some kind of robust action on several fronts. And let me tell you, from the outset, it has everything to do about poor leadership. And those who are watching this broadcast right now and listening, and they are in leadership positions in this country, will take offense. I cannot remember, particularly over the last few years, the police commissioner in St. Lucia who deserved any kind of respect as far as when they make utterances, as far as how they handle press conferences, as far as what they say to the criminal elements in our country in terms of taking the fight to them, and also as far as their own postures. Because people can determine whether you're a leader or not, even on your posture, how you come across. And so there's definitely a lack of leadership in our country, whether we want to believe it or not. Private sector interests, we don't have credible leaders or people who command respect. Our police force hardly have a police officer who commands respect. And I think there is one exception. This guy, the cop who cares. I mean, through his demeanor, through his actions, he receives awards at the regional level. He has a presence in our society. And you get the impression, I've spoken to him, apart from my interviews and so on, but he's just about a lone ranger. And maybe the other cops should come forward and exhibit the same level of tenacity and the will to succeed. Because I don't get the impression that too many of the people in leadership positions really care about those positions and the opportunities they are given in the first place. For me, based on what I'm seeing, is that they're just going through the process, and that is basically it. Nothing more. Don't talk about our politicians. Attend various regional and international meetings, while on the ground in St. Lucia, there is so much mopping up to do. There's so much distress. People are agonizing, those who care about this country. They are so frustrated. Because if you stop for a moment and you just think, you ruminate, you just think of what is happening in the country, and you give thought to the ever-presence of criminal activities and other disappointments, attacks here and attacks there, and what you're hearing from government ministers in terms of the rhetoric, in terms of not focusing on those things that are really and truly impacting the people, that's affecting the people. If you had a sitting of the parliament today, what would you have heard? Alan Chastain, Alan Chastain, Alan Chastain, Alan Chastain. I met a good friend in the supermarket over the weekend, and I was saying, boy, you are a dangerous guy, you know. I didn't ask him, well, why? And he says, man, you keep defending Alan Chastain. But I said to him, it is not all about Alan Chastain. I am focusing on those issues that are impacting the ordinary man in this country. I mean, when you have 4 homicides between Friday and Sunday evening, you're talking about 5 families who have been severely impacted. Emotionally, they are a wreck. Those people have been affected immensely. You think those people right now want to hear about Alan Chastain? Does not matter to them. They want to exist in a country where there's law and order, where things are brought under some level of control. Not that you cause crime to disappear totally. You can't do that. But you have to bring it under some level of control. And so when you keep talking about Alan Chastain, believe you me, I will take you to task and say, that is not the issue. We don't want to hear about Alan Chastain. And he went on to ask me, you know, is Alan Chastain paying you? And I said, I am so frustrated with what is happening in St. Lucia that it's not a defense for Alan. It is me addressing the issues head on, and I am doing it for free. Alan Chastain does not have to pay me. I am doing it for free. Quite apart from a little salary, I am doing it for free. And things are very much out of hand in St. Lucia. It is not getting there. You have to think twice about going out. And apparently, amidst its limitations, the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, they're not employing the right strategies to fight crime. You have a carnival activity over in Dennery. This thing about having additional events taking place, I think by now that should be revisited in light of what is taking place in our country. We are not giving in to the criminals, but it's just that we are overpowered right now. We are overwhelmed. And we cannot continue to have activity after activity, carnival event after carnival event, when those activities cannot be properly policed. It is a case of deciding, well, you're going to have those events, poor security, a lack of security, no security at all, and people are continuing to lose their lives, or you decide to do something else. Beef up your security. I mean, we have the personnel from the RSS in St. Lucia who are assisting, and yet still we have so many violent crimes occurring in our country. We had 43 homicides already for this year. And if you were to speak to those people in authority, our leaders, they don't fret over what is happening. They're not too perturbed because they have to be defensive. That's the approach they have to take. They have to make all kind of excuses. No one says, I will rejig. I take some kind of responsibility for what is happening. I, as Prime Minister, as National Security Minister, as Acting Police Commissioner, as Home Affairs Minister, I must do better. Let us hear from Stacey Joseph of the St. Lucia Fire Service, reporting on those homicides which occurred over in a section of Dennery on Sunday evening.
Emergency personnel at the Dennery Fire Station, with the assistance from officers of the Mikud Fire Station, responded to a call at Newfield in Dennery on Sunday, July 2nd. The call relating to an alleged shooting incident was received at approximately 8:05 p.m. 3 wounded individuals, 2 females and 1 male, were identified as the victims of the incident. The patients each sustained several penetrating wounds to various parts of their bodies. They were all transported to a medical facility where they were pronounced dead by a medical practitioner.
So we just heard there from Stacey Joseph of the St. Lucia Fire Service reporting on a triple homicide which occurred on Sunday over in Dennery. Now you still have, I'm told, some 11 more carnival activities scheduled for that area, in particular the Mabia Valley. You know, we talk about democracy, our freedom to do as we please, but there comes a time when we have to make certain sacrifices. Again, that comes with leadership. Going forward with all those carnival events that we are scheduled to host within the next few weeks in St. Lucia, do you think the primary focus should be on making money, revelry, merriment, and barter? Or do you think it is time for us to strategize, maybe reduce on the number of activities that we're going to have as far as Carnival is concerned, so that we can have a safer St. Lucia? The other issue for the Prime Minister and National Security Minister, the K9 unit, sir. Remember, there was so much discussion about the disbanded K9 unit because you and other leaders in this country continue to talk about porous borders, porous borders, porous borders. The former National Security Minister, Herman Gill Francis, would tell you porous borders. The current National Security Minister, porous borders. The Prime Minister, the Police Commissioner, Acting Police Commissioner, you name it. But where is the K9 unit? I think recently we got some scanners from the Taiwanese government. But the K9 unit, there's so much talk about it over the last few weeks in this country. And the Prime Minister did promise to come up with the requisite resources so that the K9 unit can be financed and returned. That has not happened. There isn't any urgency to ensure that we have a K9 unit in operation to ensure that we reduce on the number of illegal guns entering our country through our air and seaports. We take your calls right now on 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026, 716-2026. Kimani, what's in the chat room?
Someone says, Tim, take your pay and speak up. Freedom of your rights. You're right. Let's see another comment. But Tim, they have been there 2 years and still can't show the wrong Shas did. So defending the truth is the right thing. Someone is saying, tell the new commissioner to step up. Let's see. Someone says, Tim, to me it's more than 43. Another comment. Tim, what I cannot understand is, do we have a gun factory on island? The more we hear the police taking guns from people, the more we have shootings. Let's see. Someone says, these young people between 17 to 32 have no value for life, and also most of the culprits are still walking the streets. No accountability. The people in leadership positions don't know how to. There should have been an emergency press conference to condemn these killings. When that doesn't happen, you give the criminals a green light. Another comment. One thing that can slow down crime is restore confidence. Most of the gunmen, they are afraid of bullets. Someone says, all the people that are dying through gun violence are our young men and women. Tim, remember the saying, our young people are the future of tomorrow. Do it look like that is the case anymore?
They are very important in the run-up to a general election. Rest assured, they'll be coming very important to the political directorate very soon. Let's take a call. Good afternoon. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air.
Good afternoon. How are you?
I'm okay, caller. Good afternoon to you.
Yeah, how was your weekend?
Very good.
And Kimani, you as well.
My weekend was good, thank you.
Tim, I listened to you, and you based on according to your replay on the program, like when it says it's like life has no value, and when I look at it for true, and that is so true, There was a time last week I said it looked like we have got a break from gun violence. I was in Viewport when I made that statement. Now and then it looked like a thing. It is in Benue now. Now I said I want to hear a statement by National Security Minister, which is the Prime Minister. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, you are.
Condemning this type of, we have had so many of these, but I am saying to strongly send a message out there to these people that, Tim, you believe that is a joke? Before, when people had problems with people, they would see them in a crowd and look for another day when a day and say, we'll get you another day. Now people feel prison and happy, man, to take you out in a crowd and who get it and what, they don't care. And the thing that is puzzling me, you believe that the police will get the person that did that? It will go unsolved. Again, that is another case that will just disappear. Because we have had so many of this, and we very much doubt how many of those people have the police caught. Those persons who just killing you and just get away with that freely, man. We almost like everybody, no wonder when you go to the passport office, you see that type of line of people. Persons are they want to get out of that country. For both, unemployment and other matters, crime situation, it is bad. They don't want you to report it if it is from Gozile, if it is from, it's just in the shantytown area, they would want you to report it. But now, it's making a headline all over the globe. What can we do, Mr. Poleon, to do something or to send a message out there? What can we do? These things becoming too much for that country to handle. Tim, it is so heartbreaking. And most times we say condolences to the family of those who die. But Tim, is those people believe that's a movie? When you kill that person,
well, just saying condolences, that should not serve as any kind of consolation to anybody, That will not bring closure to any individual who has lost a daughter or daughters or a son. And maybe those same people, they have lost other relatives before. It is just becoming too commonplace. It's happening too often in our country. And for some people, it is okay because their party is in office.
And heard a sad story. Somebody have the heart to send a radio station that those crimes that happened there are perpetuating whatever word used by the United Workers' Party. Can somebody who's supposed to be brainy, understanding?
Okay, caller, that's not even worth exploring. So let's just agree to end our conversation on that note. Thank you so much for calling, sir. This is NewsSpin. Let's see if we get some more calls at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Kimani, the chat room.
Another comment. Someone says the police cannot solve crimes, but they're fighting to be the head of the police commissioner. Another comment. This K9 unit spree. The government was playing with our safety over petty politics. Tim, you are so right. As a Christian, I believe in prayer, but also prayer without works is dead. Someone is saying, bring back Francois. Another comment. Tim, please play the clip where PJP went ahead of himself boasting that we had a crime problem and we swiftly took care of it. That was wishful thinking. What has happened after making that statement? Another comment, well, Tim, this will never be said because our attitude is that we get mad if it's our political party office, and if it's not our political party in office, we celebrate crime. Therefore, things will never change. Someone says, sad state of affairs in our sweet island. Another comment, if we should leave all to God, then why are we voting government in?
And let's hear from Pastor Ben, because Pastor Ben was on the program, The Threesome, in the morning this morning. I think we might as well take a break, and when we come back, we'll hear from Pastor Ben speaking on his Operation Rescue St. Lucia. And, we all love God. We all love Pastor Ben. But I'm wondering after 30 years whether it is worth continuing to employ those measures, those Operation Rescue St. Lucia, even if it's not restore confidence by the police. I wonder we should have an Operation Rescue St. Lucia by a religious leader. More on that in just a moment, including your calls and your WhatsApp messages as you watch the broadcast on YouTube as well as our NewsSpin Facebook page and listen on Power 97.9 FM.
One of the biggest events for St. Lucia's Carnival has returned. Rum Bucket Waterland. More water, more paint, more foam. Sunday, 16th July at Gaiety Grounds from 11 p.m. Small coolers will be allowed, but no ice, no chaser. Must be 18 and older to enter. ID will be checked. Your ticket outlets are Steve's Barbershop and all the sell outlets. Rum Bucket Waterland. That's when we reach the waterfront. Doing whatever the hell we want. Get ready for more water, more paint, and more foam. Sponsored by KFC, Digicel, and White Oak.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Lazarus's Funeral Home is here for you. Lazarus's Private Cemetery offers a peaceful resting place for your loved ones. With tranquil settings, visitation, and reflection, we believe in the compassionate care of all our departed loved ones. Lazarus's Private Cemetery, let us help you create a final resting place. Make it special. Make it Lazarus's Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Payment plans are available for tombs. Call us in Vidbuta at 452-7491 or in New Dock Road, VA4, 454-6555.
Tired of searching all over and still can't find the auto parts you need? At Fayday Auto Parts, we make it easy for you and save you the frustration and running around. From Toyota to Chevy to Daihatsu to those rare truck parts, we've got you covered. And we're quick with special orders with frequent flights from Japan, the US, and the UK. Visit our store or give us a call at 450-7500 or 484-8141. Save time and avoid the line. Fayday Auto Parts, Wadawaj. Why stop anywhere else?
Introducing the new LuSelect Virtual Service Desk, where one click is your access to every service. From My Account to streetlight reports, requests for payment arrangements to settle arrears, change of name and address. Easy online forms give you access from anywhere and at any time. Every service you need at your fingertips. Go to our website, luselect.com, and click on the Virtual Service Desk widget. LuSelect's Virtual Service Desk. Every solution at your fingertips.
You asked for it and you got it. A quicker way to pay your bills online. It's fast, secure, and easy to use. No registration, no additional fees. Flow is now offering FastPay, an online service that allows you to settle your bills in less than 2 minutes. Need a receipt? FastPay will send it to your email immediately. Use FastPay now for convenience, safety, and efficiency at discoverflow.co/fastpay. Flow is keeping you connected.
Night Meds is your dependable neighborhood pharmacy. You'll notice that upon entry, you are greeted by caring professional staff, attentive to your every need. Your prescriptions are always treated with a high degree of confidentiality, and we pride ourselves on providing speedy, efficient service. We carry a wide array commonly requested over-the-counter products, and our prices are very competitive. We offer blood pressure testing, blood sugar, and cholesterol testing. We're open to fill your prescriptions Monday to Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Come visit Sadhu's gas station on the Miku Highway or call us at 572-6840 or WhatsApp 461-6840 for more information. Night Meds Pharmacy. We are your community med store.
Glass Supermarket continues to be your family-oriented local supermarket which spares no effort to affordably bring you the world.
Trust Glass.
For quality and friendly service.
Trust Glass.
For daily excellent specials and fantastic prices.
Trust Glass.
For the best quality bread. Check out Glass for your delicious French pastries and meals.
Also, you must know that Glass caters for your special occasion with these quality French pastries and cakes.
Be sure to earn points on your Glass card as we say thank you for your support, St. Lucia. Glass Supermarket, contact number 452-8814.
Automotive art is a place to start.
Automotive Art is now bigger and better with bargains galore. Automotive Art has expanded. With new exciting products and increased shopping comfort, we welcome you to visit. Celebrate with us and take advantage of our specials. New tires starting at $129, 25% off all tools and accessories, up to 75% off rims, BOGO specials, car care bundles, and other bargains galore. Automotive Art, bigger and better.
In Matthew 15, verse 19 to 20, Jesus explained what is going on. You know, the talk is what is happening to people. What's going on in our country? Why are so many killings? Listen to the words of Jesus in Matthew's Gospel 15, verse 19 and 20. Hear what the Master himself said. He said, "For out of the heart comes evil thoughts." And number one evil thought he made note of there is murder.
Mm-hmm.
Then adultery, fornication, theft, false witnesses, slander. These are what defiles a man. Eating unwashed hands does not defile a man. This is what is happening with crimes and criminal activities. And I want St. Lucians and people to hear me. I am speaking as an expert on that perspective. The root of crimes, the root of murders, hatred, revenge is sin in the.
You just heard there from Pastor Ben speaking earlier today during an appearance on the Threesome in the Morning right here on Power 97.9 FM. Now, for quite a while now, I've been hearing about, we need some kind of intercession. We need to put God into our lives. And that is one of the methods that could be employed to fight crime because, people are just evil. And if they turn away from the evil and wicked ways and they take God as their personal Lord and personal Savior and get baptized and so on, that is for the church. But the reality is we have so many people in this country. We have atheists who do not have that kind of evil heart. The wickedness does not reside in them. The way that we continue to hear people make reference to that, as if you must be religious, you must be going to church every Saturday or even Sunday, etc. And that will determine your character. That will determine whether, you abide with the laws of the country or not, whether you are likely to have an illegal firearm in your possession. Yeah, we get people going to church on a Sunday and Saturday playing religious and so on. So that is clearly not the issue. At the heart of our problem is we have allowed things to go awry for too long. We have turned a blind eye to too many of those evils that have occurred in our country over an extended period, over several decades. We believe that by just ignoring those issues, that they would not exacerbate. That is what we are experiencing at this point in time. And too many politicians have fooled us into believing that they have the answers. And we have not held them to the extent of ensuring that they are accounting for their stewardship. Do not tell me you have key positions. I mean, health, and the health sector is in a mess. Education, we have some challenges in education. We're not doing too badly there. Home affairs, problems in the Royal St. Lucia Police Force, problem in our prisons. National security, and we're not safe. Okay? Last weekend, 5 homicides between Friday and Sunday. Well, that transpired intermittently over several weekends now. What happened over in V4? What is looking on the horizon? I mean, we make promises. We're going to remove VAT on building materials as of January 2023. Yet to come into effect. We're going to have a 2.5% levy as of July the 1st. It cannot come into effect. Leadership, lack of proper leadership is at the heart of our problem. Let's take a call. Good afternoon to you. This is NewsSpin. You're on the air. Hello? Okay, what was that call? 452-2979, 452-2979. Your WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Somebody says there, facts. The people have lost confidence in its police force, and so the government needs to focus on restoring confidence ASAP. In doing so, there should be no bias and politics involved. Harsh decisions need to be made, a must, in order to give us any hope in this country. Do we have a call, Mr. Producer? I think we do. Good afternoon, you're on the air. Hello.
Timothy, a pleasant good afternoon to you and your listeners all over the world. PW is on the line, Timothy.
Good afternoon to you, caller.
You know, Timothy, I was contemplating over the weekend whether the police force or whether the government has the answer for the crime situation in St. Lucia. And I've come to the conclusion, Timothy, the police and even the government doesn't have the answer to the crime situation in St. Lucia, Timothy. You know, Timothy, can you remember when this prisoner escaped in the Babonneau police station? Could you remember, Timothy?
When exactly this occurred?
Yeah, could you remember that?
The caller, come on. I reported it. How can I not remember?
Okay, Timothy. Timothy, could you imagine, Timothy, a notorious prisoner, a prisoner that has a rap sheet from here to Vieux-Fort? He's not handcuffed. He's doing a Zoom court, Timothy, at the police station. And he's not handcuffed. His leg is not handcuffed. His hand is not handcuffed, Timothy. Doing that Zoom court, Timothy, doesn't the police do have, Timothy, the rule book, rules and regulations governing prisoners that do have rap sheets, or governing, prisoners that are notorious?
No. Any prisoner at all. Any prison. There's a possibility that any prisoner would want to escape legal custody.
Timothy, you look at movies. You see what is happening, Timothy. Don't tell me police officers doesn't watch movies.
That's how they get the training? By watching movies?
No, but at least...
No, that doesn't make sense, caller. You get your training by going to the training school, the police training school. No, I don't care about movies. That doesn't make sense to me. It does not make sense.
Timothy, you go to the training school, but Timothy, what I'm saying is that, Timothy, there are detective movies, you see various scenes that you learn whilst you are at the training school. So don't give me that. You know where I'm coming from, Timothy.
I don't know where you're coming from.
You know what, Timothy, the time has come for the government to add a Department of crime and surveillance to the police force, Timothy. Now that department has to be equipped with the best state-of-the-art security servers, Timothy. That department will be equipped with the best of drones and the best of state-of-the-art cameras, Timothy. We need to add a surveillance department to the police force. If we do not add that additional department to that police force, Timothy, crime will be unabated in this country. It is high time the government take this crime situation serious, Timothy. And we need to hear from the Prime Minister.
No, I disagree with you. This thing about just hearing from the Prime Minister, it is not sufficient. We need for the Prime Minister to effectively tackle this problem. Okay?
Well,
but just an announcement from the Prime Minister, just a statement from the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister would say what? One homicide is one too many? That's enough?
See, if you just think about it, solutions, any solutions, even I was in Dennery, I could have been caught up in that crossfire, Timothy. Just, could you imagine? Solutions need to understand that if things are happening at Carnival in Dennery, it can happen anywhere up in the north, down in the south. So let us not consider that we have to actually stay indoors and allow the criminals to put fear in us. We need to come out and demand from this government a better, secure country, Timothy. I thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. What's happening in the chat room, Kimani?
Tim, did PW eat your food? Allow the man to speak.
No, I must interject. It's like about people telling you how to host your program and so on. I was not elected to host NewsSpin,
Mm-hmm.
It is my show. I've been hosting it for so long. So allow me to do my job. Go tell the Prime Minister what he should do, because we elected him to be the MP and to be the Prime Minister of this country. He owes us an explanation.
Another comment, someone says St. Lucia needs serious help from outside the region ASAP. Another comment, the criminals are taking revenge for the loss of loved ones through gun-related violence. We need all hands on deck, fight against criminal activities. Someone says everyone is suddenly an expert on the police force. Another comment, someone says, let's see, Prudent, you cannot have prisoners handcuffed in court. You need to stop watching movies to get to know what is happening in reality.
We have a WhatsApp message. Will Dennery South be considered an escalated crime area like VA4 South, according to Philip J. Pierre? I hope they lock down the valley and Dennery like they did to VA4. That's maybe a WhatsApp message.
It'll be an escalated crime area maybe after 7 people have died. Another comment, someone says, we need some secret agents. Someone says, we need to rescue St. Lucia by all means necessary. Even bringing back Shas is an option. Another comment, we need street cameras. The Ministry of Finance has to set money aside for this instead of wasting our funds. Let's face it, most St. Lucians are dead people walking, even though you might not be the intended target. Someone says, Tim, play the clip from the last meeting on the market steps where the Prime Minister said we had a crime problem. Tim, I believe people want these top positions to help their friends and pockets, not because they are capable of performing in these positions. You can easily establish that when they open their mouths.
We have a call. Hello, good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air. Hello. Hello, good afternoon. Hello. I think the call. Hello.
Yeah, Tim, can you hear me?
Yes, caller. Go ahead. How are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
It's a while we haven't heard from you, caller.
I can't call it is on the doctor's streak.
Okay, all right.
Got to take it easy, but I had to call today.
Appreciate your call.
Yeah.
Nice to hear your voice. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, about you said about prayer and so on. You have been in prayer since when you were born and so on. You hear in prayer. Will prayer alone stop crime? You see, maybe some Christians hearing me now will want to call me after but I'm waiting. You see, we must read the scriptures good. If prayer alone would stop crime, will stop crime, God would not put law there for the lawless. He would just tell his people, pray every day, pray morning, noon, and night, and no use for police, for court, and so on. But God is the one who ordained these things, because he knows that there will be people that will not listen to his word. If all of us listen to God's word, there will be no crime. Just the 10 Commandments, that's what the 10 Commandments say. There won't be jealousy, which is destroying that country, hatred, which is destroying that country, and not only that country, but the world. And Tim, if you look at good, all what's going on in St. Lucia comes from hate. You look at some people speak on TV, you can see the expression of hate coming from their mouth. You can see it on their faces and so on. You can see jealousy and all these things. We have to do more than what we are doing. Prayer is fine. I can wake up one morning, can go and sleep one night, sometimes in the afternoon to pray, to call upon God. God sent the children of Israel to attack next nation. Now, don't take me wrong, people heard me. I'm just showing you all. To attack a next nation, to take a land. And the spies said, no, these guys are too tough, cannot take the land. They walked out, they went back. But there were two that said, yes, we can take the land. And what that means, they were going to fight war. God himself is coming back to fight war in the end times. At the end times, he's coming back to destroy the people that are destroying the world. I look at that last night, and I don't know why I like crying like that. I swear to God, it's not good to do that I will stop crying. But when you look at things like that, how can you stop crying? When you look at people being just killed like this.
People being slaughtered.
Slaughtered like this.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear politicians putting so much emphasis, and I say emphasis, on carnival and all sorts of ungodliness, and nothing is said about the young men, the young women that's leaving school, that's going on and gang up themselves because they can't get work, they can't eat, and so on. Now, I'm not saying that that's excuse to go and gang and so on. But the devil uses these things. God said it's laid before us, evil and good. And he said, choose good that you may live. God give us a free, and I'll repeat, a free conscience, a free choice to choose what we want to choose. No matter what. I have heard about people that raise up with one underwear, that didn't have the underwear, that could not eat a meal, and they just persist. And look at it now. They are big boys now. When I say big boys, can take care and help other people and so on. So that's why I would like Christians and non-Christians hearing me, if they could just take the Bibles, Christian or not, everybody go to church, but everybody are not Christians, and read Hosea chapter 4. Just read that scripture verse. I can't read it. I have to let other people talk and so on. But Tim, I just pray to God that these ministers, these government, this opposition, the politician will come together and put things, the priorities straight. As I said, I hear about hospitals don't even have medicine. I cannot believe that. I even said, and I'm not saying it to boast myself, never. And if I'm doing it for that, I want God to smite me down now. I say I'll donate some money to the hospital or go and get medicine or order the basic medicine they will sell for me like Panadol and just give it to the hospital. For when these people come there, that they can go and get some medicine. You look at people getting sick, big boys, next day they out. I say, God, I can do that. I sure I can hire a plane. A plane costs a couple of $1,000 US. I sure I can hire one for my children. But Lord, what's about the poor people in Shantytown? The poor people on the street that cannot even buy a bread. What's about them? I want these politicians to think about other people, not themselves. And these supporters, these gangs, these fellas that supporting, I didn't want to say gang, these party hacks I wanted to say, that supporting the wickedness going in this country. I'm telling you, if you don't change your mind and repent, God is going to judge you all. Jim,
Okay, caller.
I'll see. Okay, John.
Thank you so much, and all the best to you. Caller getting very emotional. The reality that what he's talking about is the reality of life in this country. And if you were to listen to certain people, for example, most of our parliamentarians, they don't come across as if they're identifying with these people. They are speaking their language. They're speaking a different language. They're focusing on things that have absolutely nothing to do with the ordinary folks in Shantytown, the folks of Fouachaud and Dennery and Ancillary and Canaries. What's in the chat room, Kimani?
Someone says, Tim, if I was in government, knowing the atmosphere in this country concerning gun violence, we as a nation would take a pause on the carnival this year. But I guess since the crime doesn't affect the politicians directly, they just don't care.
Well, and those people tell you, well, so much money has been invested already in the carnival. So you have invested so much money. Protect the investment. And how do you protect the investment? Is that you ensure you beef up security. You ensure that you don't have so many events taking place, for example, after your national activities, because the police are stretched. And we heard this from the minister with responsibility for creative industries just recently, when a number of activities had to be stopped over in Soufrière. We cannot adopt the same approach, the same attitude, as if our house is in order. It is not in order. We are a country that is bleeding, and I don't know why there is this excess investment in social activities. This does not cause people to say to themselves that, they ought to abide with the laws and the regulations of the country. As a matter of fact, they use this as a platform to misbehave.
A playground. Someone says, let's see. Caller, I understand, but the PM doesn't take advice from the opposition leader. Another comment, if it's prayer we believe we need, we should bring it back in schools. Let's see, caller, the government can do better. They just refuse to do so, putting people first. We have a comment from YouTube. Someone says, if Shas was in power, you would have heard all of them saying Shas must go now, who is saying Pip must go because everything is a laughing matter to him. Another comment, is this the kind of security we get for the 2.5%? Let's see. Someone says the court is too slow, so what to expect? Revenge. Someone says, Timothy, I'm not going to no more carnival events. I'm not staying out no later than 6 p.m. Let's see. Someone says, God alone, we have a crisis on our hands.
Right. Let's take in some calypso reflecting what's recently happened over in Bruceville, VA4. Desrel, he's the defending calypso monarch and performing a track Bruceville Knows, just part of that very interesting calypso.
Bruceville, DPM say your crime is escalating. There is no debating, but still the whole of St. Lucia participating, reciprocating. Bexo, Mac and Babono, Carpet State and Marigo, they all have eye problems, and glasses can't solve them. 248 square miles, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide, but we can't see the killers, so the courts can deliver. So the killers laughing while the sirens passing in front of you and me. They kill it flagrantly, even blind can see. The killers have no identity. They kill with impunity, we grant them immunity. No witnesses seeing, no one there reporting. We see but we afraid to tell, so our nose will have to smell the filthy killers. To smell their odors. Whoever knows somebody, who knows somebody, who knows somebody, who kills somebody, say something. who killing people like mankind's daddy. Say something, say something for the country's sake. There's so much at stake. They go call you a snitch, drag your name in the ditch. Oh Lord, I support these wicked sons of a...
The defending Calypso monarch for this year's Calypso competition, July the 8th, he will be defending his title. And that is Destra performing the track Bruceville Knows. As you continue to watch NewsSpin on our NewsSpin Facebook page as well as on YouTube, and listen to the program on Power 97.9 FM. Still to come, meaningful discourse can help reduce violence. So says another individual, and another person says it makes reference to the era of service, when government ministers made sacrifices serving the people of this country, and it was not all about the money.
All registered members of Courtesy Taxi and Tours Cooperative Society Limited are invited to attend an annual general meeting to be held on Saturday, 8th July 2023 at the Castries Comprehensive Secondary School at 6 p.m.
Exceeding your expectations is what we strive for at Lazarus Funeral Home. Losing a loved one isn't something you can foresee. Since the beginning, affordability has been one of our priorities. Every day we're proving that burials don't have to be expensive. If cost is a factor in your time of bereavement, call Lazarus Funeral Home. We have coffins starting at $800 plus taxes. Nothing can cause more disappointment than poor quality. Help us help you keep your last memory of your loved one sacred. Make it special. Make it Lazarus Funeral Home, your friend in a time of need. Located at Bibliotheque Castries at 452-7491 and New Dock Road V4 at 454-6555.
Contact Lucelec before trimming or cutting down trees that are near overhead electrical wires. Watch out for power lines before you begin working on a ladder. Be sure that ladders or scaffolds are far enough away so that you and the ends of the tools you're using don't come within 10 feet of power lines. And never use any electrical appliance in wet surrounding outdoors or in the rain.
This message is brought to you by Lucelec, the power of care.
It all started with a penny. For over 85 years, we have invested in our farmers, fishermen, people, and our country. When we were called to serve, we were here. We understand what is valuable to our people and our country. That is why we support all industries, including tourism. We are the bridge towards a brighter future and economic growth. When our people, government, and businesses called upon us, we were here. 85 years later, First National Bank St. Lucia Limited is here for you.
Why pay full price for your mobile when you can pay half? Just bundle your home internet and mobile services with Glow and save 50% on your mobile bill. That's money in your pocket every month. Plus, now you get free YouTube and WhatsApp data. And you can share your plan with up to 3 other numbers. Upgrade now and get a free smartphone. Switch and keep your number. Learn more at discoverflow.co.
One of the biggest events for St. Lucia's Carnival has returned. Rum Bucket Waterland. More water, more paint, more foam. Sunday, 16th July at Gaiety Grounds from 11 p.m. Small coolers will be allowed, but no ice, no chaser. Must be 18 and older to enter. ID will be checked. Your ticket outlets are Steve's Barbershop and all the sell outlets. Rum Bucket Waterland. That's when we reach the waterfront. We doing whatever the hell we want. Get ready for more water, more paint, and more foam. Sponsored by KFC, Digicel, and White Oak.
Glass Supermarket continues to be your family-oriented local supermarket which spares no effort to affordably bring you the world.
Trust Glass.
For quality and friendly service.
Trust Glass.
For daily excellent specials and fantastic prices.
Trust Glass.
For the best quality bread. Check out Glass for your delicious French pastries and meals.
Also, you must know that Glass caters for your special occasion with these quality French pastries and cakes.
Be sure to earn points on your glass card as we say thank you for your support, St. Lucia. Glass Supermarkets, contact number 452-8814.
Plastic Solutions, catering to all your commercial and domestic plastic and paper bag needs. We also manufacture printed and non-printed plastic bags. Located on the cul-de-sac Bexo Highway, Plastic Solutions is an environmentally friendly company because of its high standard plastic recycling process. For orders and inquiries, please call 758-451-5577 or visit us on the cul-de-sac Bexo Highway.
Automotive art is a place to start.
Automotive art is now bigger and better with bargains galore. Automotive art has expanded. With new exciting products and increased shopping comfort, we welcome you to visit. Celebrate with us and take advantage of our specials. New tires starting at $129, 25% off all tools and accessories, up to 75% off rims, BOGO specials, car care bundles, and other bargains galore. Automotive art, bigger and better.
Ouais, messieurs, pas jodi moi la ka espérer plein bomb glow, hein. Si t'es la pani pressure. Moi ni tank, moi ni glow, mais money pressure. Ou savez ça moi besoin? A pump. Ça c'est bêtise. Moi ka aller ko Europa. Yo ni toute pump pour toute condition. Qui pour kay, qui pour business. Yo ni primaire pour pump cette ici. Yo ka ranger pump aussi qui besoin service. Brand pump yo c'est Léo. Pump ça c'est major. Ils bon tout bonnement. Tant si ten moins actuellement. Gloka Fonte. Visitez Europa ambassade Gozile. Les mots au téléphone 452 0763.
A lot of people may not make the connection that I make between discourse, respectful, thoughtful discourse, and crime and violence. I see a very strong connection there, and I believe if we nurture respectful discourse among our people through media, then that will have a knock-on effect on the propensity of our people to wish to settle scores and settle debates and so on through violence. That's my connection. It may not be an empirically sound connection, but it's one of the things that I feel.
As the MC for last Thursday's media activity, and which honored several individuals as the inaugural recognition ceremony of the St. Lucia Media Honors Ceremony, which was held last Thursday, Cletus Springer. Let's continue with your calls at 452-2979. WhatsApp calls and messages 716-2026. Good afternoon. NewsSpin, you're on the air.
Tim.
Yes, good afternoon, Rick.
How you doing?
I'm okay. Right? Yeah, I'm all right.
Tim, Jeff Stewart, the late Jeff Stewart, had a favorite line that you could always count on him using it whenever he was doing budget analysis with you.
Mm-hmm.
You remember what that line was?
I can't remember, but I know there were very interesting comments that he normally made.
One in particular, Tim, when I say that, I know you're going to remember.
Which one?
He said, let me say this so that the ordinary man in the...
Yes.
You can finish that line for me, man?
Man, let me say you something, Timothy boy. You know, I try to address the thing so that the ordinary man in the street will understand what I'm saying, you know.
Beautiful. By the way, I hear you can do a very good Rick Wayne imitation. I am waiting to hear that one of these days.
One of those days. But I thoroughly enjoyed interviewing Jeff Stewart. Yes, I miss him. I miss him a whole lot. And he'll tell you about chicken backs, you know, a pound of chicken backs is $1.25, and that's affecting the man in the street. And if that man have 4 children, you know, boy, that's difficult, you know, boy.
Jeff would break down taxes so that even the crab catchers knew what he was talking about. He's sadly missed. And the sad part, the worst part is nobody's even coming up to want to be Jeff's replacement for Jeff Stewart. Anyway, so I will try to say my stuff today. I think I usually do anyway, but I want to make a special effort. So bear with me. Tim, would you leave your door open? Leave your house night or day? Would you leave your doors open?
No.
Is there a reason for that?
Because of what is happening, because of the fear of crime. I just don't want to put myself in harm's way at all.
All right.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be
very careful.
I don't want to be a lame duck.
I want to go even further and say you would be very careful if your dear daughter were home and you're leaving.
Yeah.
Taking certain precautions.
Extremely careful. Extremely careful.
Bear with me.
More than that, Rick, I'm a coward. You don't want to tackle me in my home because you will not live there alive, because I'm a coward. All right, anyway, let's continue. You never want to tackle a coward in his own home. No, never do that.
But the first thing this guy would do, he would secure his home, would do everything he can to protect his family, etc., including protecting himself.
Of course, yes.
Now, did you do any courses in crime prevention?
No, I didn't do any.
You're not a criminologist?
No, I'm not.
Good. So when we start talking about the police, I mean, there are basic things, Tim, that you expect your police to have in place, you know. No?
Yes.
So you don't have people, all of a sudden everybody is now scared to say, well, I don't want to blame. You got to blame the police. The problem is that the police situation is not new. It's been there for as long as you and I can remember.
Mm-hmm.
We've had a police force that is at best unreliable. You've had various degrees where you had one or two people who were better than others, but still not near the expected mark. And we've heard all the reasons for it, and time after time after time, government after government after government, what they would do when the noise got big enough, they'd go to certain cooperative citizens, and I dare say some citizens who are very suspect themselves, and get a couple of 2 or 3 vehicles for the police and make a big deal. Every government has been doing that, okay, for years. Am I right or wrong?
You're very much correct on that, Rick.
And you can go down to Tapion. I don't know, these days I'm not as mobile, but I remember the days when Tapion was called the cemetery for vehicles. So a vehicle 1 year old, you could find them there, abandoned.
At the police school, police training school.
At the police school, exactly. The history is good, Tim, so that we can see our people condoning, our people being complicit in what's biting their ass right now, you know. When you do nothing about the bug, it's eventually going to be in your butt.
Yeah.
But that's what we've been doing. We prefer to play political games. We prefer to talk about this MP and that MP. When I tell you all of the problems we have in this country have been there from John Compton's day. And what the politicians do to one, by and large, is to touch it a little bit or touch it a little bit depending the mood of the day and the season, and etc. That's what they do. And they love to tell you, how come you didn't say that when you were with 200? That kind of crap. And all of that is to avoid the issue that the only security force we have in our country has forever been below par. I have written several articles about these music fests we copy. We try to copy all, what's the one in England they just had, and so on. We try to copy all those things, and we don't take into account how much security there is, how much planning there is for those music festivals, outdoor festivals. I got a note from a guy recently pointing out how, what's the one, Glastonbury. How Glastonbury just had this, how many thousands of people there, and not an incident, and the government is not involved. And I don't think that's correct, but the point is we want to do all these things, but we put nothing in place. That's why I started with your house. Do you know who determines who gets a permit to have a public meeting in this country, Tim?
The police commissioner.
It is supposed to be the police commissioner at the commissioner's discretion, depending on how he feels the ground is, or if he feels he has enough personnel to adequately protect the people having the meeting as well as their audience.
Yeah.
It's not just that law is not just there just like that, you know. It is a law for the protection of the people who are holding the meeting as well as the attendees to the meeting. So we have all those laws in place. But Tim, I would hope you know that the police commissioners do not, at their own discretion, give out those permits.
You saying what? They get a phone call or two from government officials, government ministers?
You know what is worse, Tim?
Mm-hmm.
They don't get a phone call or two. They call. And the most famous one was, I think it was, the guy's name was Pierre, when he called Judge Adlam, famously, as to whether he should give John Compton a permit to hold a meeting or not. And that's a long story. And you know what? That ended up with the destruction of Central Castries, of the commercial sector. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Plywood City.
Plywood City. So don't just we want your people to follow us on that. So even there you have aberrational behavior. It is the license, the permit is to be given at the discretion of the police based on whether they can give them protection or not, whether the atmosphere is right or not, for the safety of the people, not to interfere with freedom of speech, because we pretend that we have freedom of speech and it must be protected. We pretend that. Okay? So, if the police can determine when to give licenses, permits for public meetings, don't you think in an atmosphere where people are being picked up on the road like a roadkill with 12 bullets in them, where just a few weeks ago a record was set in Beaufort, where the horrible sight not so long ago was a woman in the gutter with her bullet-riddled body, a woman, how old was the child who was shot?
About 2.
Yeah, a nurse blown away down the road. How many died on in February?
Independence, about 4.
Yeah.
4.
I want to remind of all those things. So in that atmosphere, and here's another one before I even go any further. Tim, a minister of government announced publicly to the world that he was stopped by another vehicle on the road in the early hours of the morning, and he feared for his life to the extent that he pulled his gun and came out and was ready to shoot whoever came out of that car, etc., etc. All of that was on TV, Facebook, for the whole world to see it. There has not been a word from the media on that. Not a word. And that happened almost, more than 2 weeks ago.
Yes.
Not a word from the government on that. The minister himself spoke it, yes. But even since the minister spoke it, there's still no word on it. Not from the media, not on your show, nowhere, no news. Why is that, Tim?
Well, I mean, from my vantage point, from my angle there, the fact that he has already spoken about it and has been in circulation, Rick. No, it's been in circulation. And you've had, for me, more pressing matters involving people who are actually being killed and injured and so on. I would have given that priority. But as we have known about NewsSpin into its 21st year and so on, 23rd year, we are not in the business, 21st. We are not in the business of just reporting on everything, Rick. People can always call, as you just did, people can call and focus on different issues.
Okay, all right, fair enough. But I would think when we are at a stage where ministers of government find themselves at such risk that they have to pull out their gun and all that kind of stuff, that ain't an ordinary day, an ordinary time, or an ordinary incident. Now it is following that you got the Denver shootings. It is following also the commissioner of police wrapped up in a scandal that yet again everything is wrapped up and mothballed. So no talk about the minister threatened on the road. No talk about these widespread accusations about the leader of the police force. Nada. And in that, meanwhile, people are dying because on Saturday, 2 people died, right?
That was on Friday was 1, Saturday was another, and then Sunday you had 3.
Look at that. Look at that. So following, I'm just going to start from there. Following the road problem with the minister, following the big news on the police commissioner, you have all of those killings one after the other. And nobody's even thinking there may be a link. And why is it nobody of significance has a word to say about that? And we're talking generally about the police. These are specific incidents happening at a particular time with a particular significant deadly regularity, Tim. So what the hell is going on in the country? And to say that the police, I mean, Denry has a police station.
Yes, they do.
Tell me the police could not use their discretion, that this might not be a time to, because you see, we don't want to do anything that might rock a boat. Because to stop Carnival, perchance to save lives, is a major political
But I think that is an
problem.
after Carnival event, eh? It did not occur at the Carnival activity itself. It's an after
I beg your
Carnival.
pardon. Please explain that to me.
No, what I mean is that it occurred moments, like I think maybe hours after the main Carnival activity.
Tim, I ain't even going to go into that with you. The moments after the Carnival activity. On the same night
Rick,
of
I
the
just want to be,
Carnival.
I just want to be specific on that particular
Well,
matter.
let
I'm
me
going to be specific.
Let me be
Okay?
even more specific. Let me be even more specific. On the same night of the jump up, a couple hours after the jump up,
Right.
that doesn't mean everybody goes home and sleep and whatever. We know St. Lucia.
Yes.
And the police should have been there, bearing in mind the atmosphere, protecting the lives of ordinary people in their homes, the jump up people, the band. The police should have been there in force because that is the atmosphere we're living in. So if the police figure they cannot supply adequate protection for people, adequate policing, surveillance and so on, then they should not have given that permit to those people. And that is something to think about. Nobody wants to say those things. But if it were a political meeting, red or yellow, they will tell you, they easily stop it. But that's the game we play, political. And meanwhile, the people are dying. And there's no word from the government. And there's no word from the police. In fact, I haven't heard one person call you yet on the threat on the minister's life, or at least the purported threat on the minister's life.
Yes, no one has called on that.
Exactly. So what the hell is going on in this country that a minister thinks his life is under such serious threat that he had to get out and pull out his gun, and in days afterwards, 5 or 7 people are killed, and we're still in a carnival mood. Nothing wrong with a carnival. But be sure you have adequate protection for those who will attend that carnival or those who are living in the vicinity of the carnival, no?
You are very much on track on this issue.
Yeah, so it's not a matter of 2 hours after, Tim, and thank you very much for the time.
You're welcome, sir. All right, Kimani, what's up in the chat room?
Someone says, everyone was still hanging around, so I consider that to be at Carnival. Another comment, Tim, whether it happened before or after is of no consequence. The point is they were out as a result of the event. Another comment, the next time the police refuses a permit to the UWP will challenge constitutionally. The police should have no such power, right to assemble. Someone says, when you have a country and MPs doing what they want, no one to guide or pull up members of parliament to discipline them, what do we expect as a nation? Too much politics in our police force and it's worse now. And another comment, we need to stop shielding our children, grandchildren, cousins, nephews, neighbors, relatives. Stop protecting the criminals. Then crime will stop. Crime fighting starts with us, not PJP or Allen. Stop blaming government. Let's come together and do it for our children and the society at large. We have a very lengthy comment. Someone says, Tim, while crime continues to plague St. Lucia and affect families, what is worse than criminals committing those crimes is the lack of justice that exists in this country. The poor success of investigators to solve these murders and bring perpetrators to justice. And of course, when the police do find the criminals, due to the inefficiency of our courts, justice is then delayed, which adds to the agony that families experience. Perhaps the criminals know that they can't get away with their crimes, hence they continue to be so emboldened. Now, without taking too much attention away from the crime issue, there is one particular issue that I really need to address, and that is Wasco. Tim, in 2023, why do we have communities going weeks without water? How can a people accept this kind of service from Wasco? When you call Wasco, they admit that the tanks are low and need to be replenished to supply several communities. Water, according to the United Nations, is a fundamental human rights issue. Why isn't the government allocating the necessary funds to fix Wasco's issue? We can find money for jazz, some 12 million, for carnival and other one-day activities, but we can't find money to fix this country's water problems. Why can't homes have proper and adequate running water? Granted, sometimes pipes may be damaged and in need of repair, but that should not require weeks to solve, leaving folks without water for prolonged periods. Then Wasco is trying to cover up their inefficiencies by telling families to invest in water tanks. All well and good. How about Wasco or the government supplying tanks to the less fortunate, those who cannot afford? Tim, we have become so complacent on these issues. The issue of water, good governance, St. Jude's, crime, etc. Maybe we deserve what we get. Interesting read. Another comment, someone says, the government can't speak about crime and violence because they were the ones fueling violence and crime, protest, hate, and bazooka. Another comment, how many people are willing to give up some freedom to fight crime? Tim, are you willing to give up your freedom on a weekend to fight crime?
I'm always willing to do that because I honestly believe that, we have to make the necessary sacrifices if we want for there to be any kind of improvement. But I think for too long now, you have been asked to make certain sacrifices, for example, the paying of taxes and so on, and you're not seeing the end result of this, which is a functioning police force, education system, and in particular, healthcare. So long now, we cannot have the St. Jude Hospital rehabilitation or reconstruction project completed. And who knows, and I said this a few years ago, I will not be surprised if this administration fails to complete that project. I will not lose sleep over this, and there's a possibility that it might happen because our governments, they are just too distracted, too much about the politics for them and not about improving the lives of the people.
Another comment, someone says, Carnival can be very profitable for the organizations. Someone says, police can't be everywhere at the same time. Another comment, poor job the police for so many experts without badges. Let's see, someone says, Shas nor Peep can force all leaders in St. Lucia to do their jobs. It is the responsibility of all leaders to do their jobs. If they cannot perform, they should just step down.
So that's where Shas, as Prime Minister, if he comes in, he has to perform his duties. He has to ensure that they account. That's where the current Prime Minister comes in as well. Those people have to account for their stewardship. If you're heading a particular government department, a particular corporation, a particular government institution, you have to account to somebody. Okay? And we cannot allow things to continue as they have been operating over several decades now, considering what we are going through at this point in time. There is a serious breakdown in this country, and it amounts again to leadership at various levels, poor leadership at various levels.
Another comment, someone says, Tim, can you imagine this morning I saw a meme where a guy with a suitcase in hand saying he's leaving Dennery to go back to Vieux-Fort. Vieux-Fort quiet now, Dennery hot. Another comment, Tim, in any crisis, leadership matters and our country is lacking leadership. No one to take swift action to protect our country and its people. Another comment, this is quality and innovative calypso with the message embedded in the lyrics. Advocate for the youth. Someone says, that's it, Desra. They can't see the killers, always no eyewitness, but they want the police to know who did it and arrest them. SMH.
Okay, so Lady Janice speaks about the era of service when politicians would make personal sacrifices for the benefit of the wider St. Lucian society. And at the time, she was paying tribute to the late Ira Devine at his funeral service. That's on June the 27th.
3 times Ira abandoned his law practice to serve St. Lucia and the people of St. Lucia to his financial detriment, as did others along with him over those years: Sir George Mallet, Alan Bousquet, Mikey Pilgrim gave up a more lucrative job, as did Romanus Lancico, leave cable and wireless for a much higher paying salary. But they came to serve. People see persons who serve as living a glamorous life simply because they see glamorous moments on the television. But for those who served in that era with Sir John, theirs was a sacrifice. Foreseeing the need, they offered their services to their country willingly, with no strings attached, no request for mortgages to be settled or loans to be paid or their children's school bills to be met. And knowing the endless requests that come from their constituents to christen their child, bury their dead, buy their school books, pay their rent, and buy their groceries, all on that small salary. Their commitment was absolute. They set an example, and they worked with Sir John to take St. Lucia to the top of the OECS, highly respected and the envy of much of the Caribbean. It was a time when they may not all have arrived at the same opinion, but I can safely say that in that era, Sir John never had to look over his shoulder to see if there was a Brutus awaiting him, and he was allowed to get on with the enormous task at hand.
Lady Janice paying tribute to the late Ira Devine during his June 27th funeral. Finally from us, our NewsSpin News of the Day. NewsSpin News of the Day. Riots erupt in French Caribbean territories in reaction to unrest in France over teen's death. Riots erupt in French Caribbean territories in reaction to unrest in France over teen's death. That's a broadcast, as always. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening to the program. And thank you so much for contributing via your calls and your WhatsApp messages. Coming up next, we have the Power Drive. And you could join me same time tomorrow afternoon, 12:30, with another edition of NewsSpin. Goodbye.